Thank you for staying tuned. And after gaining independence in 1960, Nigeria has been resolute in building strong bilateral relations with the international community in the bid to strengthen economic ties and boost foreign direct investment. Going by the growing diplomatic relations with the United States, Nigeria has been described as the second largest U.S. export destination in sub-Saharan Africa with an export trade investment worth $10 billion as of 2019. It will also interest you to know that the trade volume between Nigeria and the United Kingdom is valued at about 3.2 billion pounds as of 2021, a development that has made the Nigerian government more resilient in implementing reforms that can attract more foreign direct investment into key industries across boost trade and, of course, development across all Nigerian sector, all spaces across the sector. To give us more insight into this, I'm being joined, virtually again, by the Chief Executive Officer of Cowry Assets Management Limited, Mr. Johnson Chukwu. Thank you for your time. Mr. Chukwu, it's good to have you on the program.
Thank you, Tolu, for having me.
Yes, let's start quickly with, I was looking at the funeral yesterday in the UK, and what came to my mind as a business person is the business relations between Nigeria and UK. What more should we be expecting? Where are we and where should we be, or where can we be? I think you could help us understand that.
Okay, the way I will look at it is this. United Kingdom is the largest source of capital importation into the country. That means foreign direct investors, foreign portfolio investors coming into the country. The United Kingdom is the country of origination of most of the foreign capital importation in the country. So beyond that, the UK, United Kingdom is also a major export market for the country. And that market could actually be grown because United Kingdom hosts the largest number of Nigerians in diaspora. And those Nigerians in diaspora still have a demand for Nigerian goods. But beyond that, it's also one of the most developed financial markets in the world. So it's a source of capital distribution across the globe. And then it's one country that we have a historical and cultural affinity with. If you consider the fact that they were our colonial masters, and since they stayed their foot here, we've had a very strong relationship with them in terms of social interaction, in terms of economic engagement, even in terms of military support. So it's one country that one would say the Nigerian nation has every responsibility to continue to nurture the relationship we have with them in terms of bilateral relationship we have with them.
But strengthening this relationship is where I'm going. What policies should we be looking at this time to take advantage of all of this? We've seen what's happening between Russia and Ukraine and how Nigeria could benefit what maybe gas and some other spaces where we can do better. But how can we make this relationship better?
Okay, it's going to be from a lot of from engagement, and I will try to see if I can talk on through some of those areas of engagement. One is the issue of making United Kingdom or Britain a recipient country for some of our exports. Our particular agricultural products exports to United Kingdom, we can actually engage them in some level of, enhance our bilateral relationship with them so that they can allow the entry of a lot of agricultural products. With Britain exiting from the European Union, it has created an opportunity for countries like Nigeria to fill some of the supply sources that Britain was enjoying, including agricultural products. And some of the stringent conditions that were imposed by Europe against agricultural export from Africa, Britain is likely going to lower those standards to allow for some form of reciprocity in terms of our export to that market. So we need to work on that so that we can expand the value of our export to Britain. Beyond that, I had mentioned the issue that Britain hosts the largest number of Nigerians in diaspora, so you already have a market for Nigerian products. The other things we need to do is that you mentioned the issue of gas. Britain may not so much of need of Nigerian gas because Britain has its own gas. But the reality is that we can work with them to attract foreign capital into the country so that we can build a trans-Saharan pipeline that will take gas from Nigeria through Morocco to Europe. Because Europe is hurting given the war going on between Ukraine and Russia in terms of gas supply. And Europe is very open to receiving gas from Nigeria and any other country that can supply them. Britain can provide that funding because there's a lot of capital available in England. So those are some of the areas we can work to optimize the relation we have with them in terms of economic value to us as a country.
Good one there. Implications for Nigeria now, because while I was doing my research, I saw that the king has visited Nigeria a number of times, and some say they are Africans even in the cabinet. A notable one is the Secretary of State for International Trade. Well, I'm looking at how that will impact us positively one way or the other.
Yes, King Charles III has a long relationship with Nigeria. And like you said, Mrs. Kemi grew up here. She grew up in next building to where I used to live. I knew her from her childhood. And she's one of the she's the Secretary of Trade. So we can actually, like I said, we have a deep relationship with them. We have a cultural affinity with them. We have commercial relationship with them. We have economic engagement with Britain. And we can, of course, you know that the king is not the head of government. The prime minister is the head of government. So the king is more of a titular or ceremonial head of state. But that still brings a lot of influence, which is why I actually expected that Nigeria will be fully represented at the interment of the burial of the king, of the queen. I actually expected our president should have physically been there, given that the Olga he went to attend will start today, and all the heads of states of the other countries were in England to attend the Queen's burial, and after which they will now go to New York for Olga. So I expected the president should have been there. But in any case, the vice president was there. Britain is one country we should continue to nurture a relationship with, and the king. The new king of England, King Charles III, has deep knowledge of Nigeria, deep knowledge of Nigerian politics, deep knowledge of Nigeria's social structure, and we should ensure that we will continue to expand and develop that to particularly focusing on economic engagement.
All right, before we let go, wrap up this segment, let's touch on the United States of America, which the president is also attending the UN, that's the General Assembly, at the moment, United Nations General Assembly, 77th one. Now, what are you expecting from all of those discussions? They're supposed to be focused on investment, of course, how to promote investment and how to strengthen ties one way or the other, also with the United States. Your reaction to this?
Well, the first thing, like I said, corollary from what I just said earlier, it is important and necessary that there are presidents, just like the United Nations General Assembly, that will show presidents as such global gathering of heads of states. It makes people to know that we are there. But beyond that, I think for us to attract investment from other countries, we must also make our investment climate attractive. So the president has a lot of work to do at home beyond what he has to do overseas, because you cannot really sell what is not attractive. So we should look at inwards and look at what are those things we need to do to make this environment, our economic environment, very attractive for investors. That's when the president will have a bragging right to stand before any nation, any nation's head of state to say, look, come to my country and come and invest. So we need to do the heavy lifting here while we do the public relations over there.
So I want to talk about the Ease of Doing Business initiative, which was focused on, I guess it should not be just internal, that's for Nigerians. I think you should also be able to help attract some foreign investors to come into the country. What is your assessment of this so far? A lot of reports coming from them. I don't think we've really changed when it comes to the ratings of the World Bank Ease of Doing Business initiative. How well are we doing and what is happening?
If you step back about 4 years ago, during the tenure of the Minister of Trade, Okenelama, there was a lot of improvement. There was some level of progress. We introduced the visa on arrival, which was a major improvement in giving access to foreign investors who wanted to come to the country. Of course, we don't expect a lot of people to come here and start doing many jobs because the opponents are not here. Nigerians are looking for jobs. So anybody who wants to come to Nigeria, Nigeria is not yet a tourist destination. They are coming to do business. And if they're coming to do business, it's good that you facilitate the ease of entry into the country. We did that. We did a few things in terms of improving the time it takes to register business in the country, time it takes to pay taxes, land registration titles, and all those things. And I think we need to go back to the basic and begin to look at those other areas we need to improve. Like correctly pointed out, we've not seen material improvement in the past couple of years, but the opportunities are still there. The key thing for me is that if you want to attract investors, you need to do some housekeeping. One of which was what I referred to when we did the investor on arrival. And that's what we need to do is make our airports a bit more attractive, more restrictive, more appealing to people who are passing through that, because that's the first point of contact people who are coming to your country. That's the first report card they will see of your country. We need to do that. I'm happy with what has happened, the Oshodi Airport, Oshodi Express Road, which was reviewed by the last government in Lagos State. We need to now expand that. Ordinarily, Nigeria should be an aviation hub in West Africa, if only we can fix the road that goes to Benin Republic. But beyond that, I think a lot of work needs to be done on the ease of doing business. We have proof of concept that we can do a few things and do them right, and that the impact of that could be quite significant.
Well, it's a good way to live it. It's always an interesting conversation with Mr. Johnson Chukwu, and we don't always want to let go. But this is what time can take. I have the housekeeping rules, our airports, and all of that. I've taken notes. I will keep on speaking around all of this. At least we'll get better and attract some more investments into our dear country. Thank you so much, Chief Executive Officer, Cowry Assets Management Limited, for always being there for us. I appreciate your time.
My pleasure.